You're listening to the Personal Development Through Martial Arts podcast, the podcast where the world's highest personal development experts and martial arts masters come together to empower and inspire you to become your strongest self and live the life that you truly want. Join host Bogdan, Rosu, author, public speaker, and the founder of the first personal development through martial arts school in the world, in the podcast where you become the hero. My next guest is a true business master. He worked at Goleman Sacks after successfully passing 39 one-on-one interviews and a 6-month internship. He eventually went on to grow a real estate company from $300 million to $3.6 billion. And he is the founder of the 5 a.m. Club. Today, he is the CEO of Kingston Lane, a company that helps real estate agents find qualified leads at the push of a button. So please help me welcome Sharran Srivatsaa. We're here with Sharran Srivatsaa, and I hope I'm not butchering his name. Awesome. And I'm very, very excited to sit down with him because Sharran is truly a business master, guys. Just to give you an idea, Sharran took a company which was worth $300 million and he took it to 3.1, was it, billion?
Two.
Okay. Yeah, but everybody asks him about this stuff, so we're not going to be diving too much into that because he's probably sick of talking about the same topics over and over again. Sharran, how are you?
I'm awesome, Sifu. Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited, and let me just share with everyone that I'm deeply impressed of how humble and how passionate you are. You know, I really, really appreciate that about you and about your energy. Were you always like this, or was this something that you learned through throughout the years?
Great question. So about 10 years ago, so if you and I were friends 10 years ago, you would not recognize me today.
Wow.
I was bullheaded, aggressive, commercial, figuring out what I could do, how I could get my advantage, that the world owed me because I was not born with a lot, and I always had something to prove. And I just realized over the years that it may sound soft, but I mean, I'm a tiger inside, just like most people are, but I've learned to be very kind on the outside. I have a lot of work to do, but 10 years ago, my friend 10 years ago will not recognize me right now. I'm a much kinder person. I'm much more grateful. A lot of tough things have happened in my life, and I feel like I have a second, third lease on life today. And I really wish that most people don't have to go through either the health struggles or the relationship struggles or the business struggles that I went through to realize that you don't have to be that way. And even today, when I get a tough email or when someone is attacking or on social media or whatever, and my business partners, my team wants to come protect me and fight them up, I say, hey, let's do the right thing. Let's be kind, because the kindness will always win. And that was not there 10 years ago. It's been a transformation, and I hope I can, it's 10 years too late. I wish I was like that then. I would have a much better life now, but it's never too late to kind of lead with the kindness, I believe.
Wow, that is so powerful. And I'm so impressed about the synchronicity, because I feel like I'm in that stage right now where I'm like really bullheaded and like really aggressive, like, okay, let's do this, and right. And you sharing this with me right now is actually, I don't know if it's as valuable as I should take it in this moment. It's probably going to make a lot more sense like 10 years from now, this conversation. But let me just share that it's super, super relevant at this stage of my life. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So, I'll give you something for you, right? This is super powerful. And let me tell you what happened. And very few people will understand this. And I think you will, only because you have a very, just because of what you do, you have a very strong mind-body connection. right? Like you understand it very well. And a lot of people are just looking for a mental tactic or a hack or a business strategy. I think you have like, based on what you do on the martial arts side and the development side, you know the connection between the mind and the body, right?
Yes.
So I realized from my health, when I was growing our business, my health broke down. And what happened was I have some, they were guessing I had some autoimmune issues, and which was triggered by stress. But stress is a very broad concept, right?
Yes.
And stress doesn't need to be something related to money that you know, working with your business or a business struggle. Stress can be anything. Stress can be an email that you get and your body doesn't know whether it's fight or flight, right? It can be email that you get is the same as a tiger chasing you. Like your body doesn't know the difference, conceptually speaking, right? So if we can figure out that, hey, a lot of stress is coming our way, you, me, and your listener right now, we all feel stresses every single day. And our physical and mental constructs don't have that strong of an ability to separate the stress out. And so instantly we go to fight or flight mode, but instantly if we can respond with the kindness mode, we will just be able to handle that stress a lot better. So to me, managing the kindness and managing the response was a coping mechanism for all my health. And I would offer that to you more. It's more than anything else. It is, we get so much thrown at us every single day. We need an armor of kindness to break that up. And I think we can do better work because of it.
I love that. So was it because you came up until a point and said like, okay, I cannot deal with life this way. I really need to change as a person or else I'm going to die. Was it right?
Yep, exactly.
So what was like, how did you come to that conclusion at that stage in your life? Did the doctor say, look, you need to stop stressing out so much? Or was it like something, was it your body that said, look, we need to change?
Yeah, so my body broke down first, and I believed that I could go out and outwork anybody. I believe that hustle wins. I believe that I can work harder. I can work longer. I was like, hey, you know what? I'll eat dinner. My wife will go to bed and I'll work more. Like you can never outwork me. And I realized that and even today, like I'll hustle, I'll work, but the rejuvenation, the rest and like your body, your body just can't, you know, it needs the rest. And there's a really powerful thing. One of my mentors told me, he says, Sharran, you get paid to rest and recover. You get paid to rest and recover. He's like, you're thinking about it wrong. He said, you're thinking about it as you get paid to work. He's like, no, you get paid to rest and recover so that when you show up the next day, that's when you do your best work.
That's so funny. You know, when I was training karate, I got this kind of philosophy from my cousin. Like when everybody's like taking their breaks, you do your training and you work. And I took that kind of mindset to my Wing Chun, right? To my Kung Fu training. And I was sitting one day with my Sifu, and then, okay, he's like, let's take a break. And then I said, great. I went over to the equipment and started doing my training. And he said, stop. Breaks are part of your training.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You know, and it's 100% true. I mean, even if you're doing fitness, you still need a few days for all the work that you put into to set into your body. Yeah, 100%. So how did you decide on reframing that? Like, how do you reframe a stressful situation in such a way that you allow kindness to come out?
Yeah, so a great question, right? So any response, a lot of times when we get a stressful situation, we always react.
Yes.
And I've just realized that the response, I can only do it one way. So for example, if I get a really difficult email, stressful email, and I want to fire back a response, I have a rule. Every person that gets an email from me is going to get a kind email, right? So I say, whatever you say to me, right? Whatever you say to me, however mad you are, I say, hey, Sifu, thank you so much for your email. I really appreciate it. So I just diffuse it right away, right? And then I say, as I was thinking about it, the 4 things I'm thinking about are these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
Based on this, can you give me guidance? Am I thinking about it correctly? So you kind of use curiosity and discovery when you're stuck, Maybe you misread it. Maybe you didn't, right? Until I know for sure that what I'm getting is not positive energy, I do a lot of discovery and softening. So I've also found an easy way to do that is just to respond either with a one-liner or with video. So I shoot a video. So I'll just take my phone and I'll shoot a video and be like, hey, Jason, thank you so much for your email. Hey, I'm on the road, but I thought it would be easier for us to either connect live because it's easy to have email and tone misconstrued. Do you want to catch up live? That's it, right? Some way to just diffuse the situation, because any tough situation, you just have to de-escalate and reframe, right? Even in a sales situation, a lot of times if you're selling something, business owners, entrepreneurs, they go to sell their product or service and they have a big mandate. And then the client says, well, Sharran said he'd do it for 30% less. The client is not saying Sharran said he'd do it for 30% less. The client is just saying, you haven't shown me why your value is that much more. It's a completely different question. So now I, as the entrepreneur, can't take it personally that Sharran's undercutting me on fees. I, as the entrepreneur, should say, okay, how do I de-escalate the situation? And how do I reframe it into my value, right? So a great way to de-escalate a situation when you're in a sales or business context is always something like, all right, Sifu, let me see if I understand this. So what you're telling me is that Sharran, and you met with 4 people. One of the people that you met with was Sharran, and he said that he was going to do a similar service for 70% less. Is that correct? So now the client has to re-explain themselves. So you've completely reframed it. Well, no, he said that he was going to do these 4. Oh, okay. If you don't want those 4 things, I'm happy to do it at the same price. If price was not an issue, who would you choose? So now I've de-escalated and completely reframed the situation, right? Otherwise, we start taking it personally and we come up with some kind of sales terminology to solve that. But the softening and the reframing is where everything is.
I love that. I love that. One of the challenges that most, we have a lot of martial arts instructors listening in. One of the challenges of running a martial arts school is dealing with your clients' excuses. Like, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it tonight, but I'm going to come next time. And we both know that, like, no, you're not. You're just going to give me another excuse the next time, right? So, it can be really frustrating to hear, the stuff over and over again. How do you deal with your clients' excuses or your employees' excuses, like when they said they're going to deliver, but they don't, right? How do you de-escalate and reframe that?
Yeah, great question. So anything that, so I'll give you the universal framework for solving anything, right?
Right.
The first one is we've got to dial into the singularity of focus. Like, why are they coming in the first place? If they're coming in the first place for recreation, and based on that they're missing, you just got to let them go, right?
Yeah.
We want them to learn, but they just want to be there for maybe some skills, capabilities, exercise there. So what is the singularity of focus? What is the rationale for them being there? In your words, what is the precision of thought for them being there, right? If you know that, then number 2 becomes really easy. The number 2 is, this is my favorite, it's the cadence of accountability. Cadence of accountability. Accountability is a tough word, but I like the cadence of the accountability, right? So I'll give you a simple example. There is, when I was not well, my doctor said to me, he's like, hey, Sharran, I'm looking at your blood work, and your blood work, it seems to me like you're healthier kind of in the mornings than you are in the evenings. So it just seems to me like if you spend more time awake in the earlier part of the day, you may live longer and healthier. Right. And I said, well, what does that mean? And he says, well, just wake up earlier. I was like, I don't wake up early, right? That's not who I work late. I work hard. Nobody bothers me. And he said, just try it. And I said, I don't have the self-discipline to wake up early. I need some help. Right. So that's where the accountability comes in. So I go to 3 of my friends, and I go to my 3 friends and I say, hey guys, I'm going to call you at 5 in the morning. And I only want to call you for 5 minutes. So maybe there's a conference call line, whatever. I know that if you're going to be on, I can't let you down. So I will show up. Right. Yeah. And they said, well, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to tell us at 5 in the morning? I said, I'll make it worthwhile. It'll be 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It'll be an inspirational message. It'll be something thoughtful. They said, okay. So this is what happened. this is three and a half years ago. The first day came around, I made the call. They were all on, so I hear the conference line. Yeah. I share a message that I had prepared. I was up, right? I'm up, I'm awake. I didn't want to let them down. The next day, I knew they'd be on, so I did the same thing. The next day, I knew they'd be on, I did the same thing. What I realized was that now that was my cadence. My cadence was staying accountable to a bigger purpose than me. And that was good. But here's the funny part. Those 3 people started inviting more people to the call without telling me. So the 3 became 5, became 10. And I had no idea because it was just, I was just, over the last 3 years, today we have 2,600 people on the call.
Whoa.
2,600 people dial in every morning at 5 a.m. I have no idea who they are. I wake up, 5:01, I put everybody on mute. I share a message because that is my cadence of accountability to stay up every morning. Because if I've missed 2 mornings, like my alarm didn't go off or whatever, my text messages blew up. Are you okay? What's wrong with you? Right? And I felt so guilty of just my responsibility. So number one, if you know why you're doing it, so my health was important. That was number one. Number two, I had a cadence of accountability. Number 3, good process drives good results, right? So we just need to always tell our clients, good process drives good results. Hey, no problem if you don't come meet with me. I get it. However, please know that your skills and your capabilities will improve if we keep the cadence.
Right.
And we may have, it may be 1 step, 2 steps back, 1 step forward. That's okay. I'm here for you regardless of what you want to do. But please know that good process drives good results. And so they'll say, well, I don't want to skip today. I was like, hey, no worries. Just know that good process drives good results. And that way they start to make a decision whether they want to invest the time. So now all my clients, all my team, etc., we just have good cadence. Anytime I want to get something delivered, I'm like, hey, you and I are going to meet every morning at 9:15 for 5 minutes, and we're going to check in where we are. That check-in call the night before, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on with Sharran tomorrow. I better get my stuff done, right? Otherwise I look like an idiot. And then that you start to get your stuff done, and then suddenly in 2 weeks, you see insane progress, and then you get addicted to the progress, right? So I always go back to, why are they doing it? What cadence can I establish with them? And if they don't want to, if they want to break the cadence, I just want to let them know the good process drives good results.
So is there any kind of, like if somebody breaks the cadence, what's like, are there any kind of consequences for breaking the cadence, or like what's going to happen if I'm going to say, okay, Sharran, we're going to meet tomorrow morning, and I do it once, I do it twice, but 3rd time, 4th time, I don't show up, and then I show up the 5th time. What's going to happen, like with our relationship from your point of view?
Great, that's a great question, right? So I think that's so there's only 2 things you talk about when you establish cadence. So you and I are talking about cadence. This is like, if we can solve this. So this is actually the core of my new book. My book's, it's all about cadence. That's the entire. That's everything is about cadence of accountability, cadence of evangelism, cadence of everything, right? The 2 things that are needed is establishing a regular checkpoint. That's number 1. And number 2 is just establishing what outcomes or consequences, right? Say, hey, if I don't meet this, what happens? Because then I don't want to have to call you and tell you, dude, what happened? That's a very terrible call for me to make. I can say to you, hey, we agreed that this would happen. I just want to know if we're still in agreement. You're welcome to the agreement. I just want to know if we're in agreement. Because there's this amazing concept. It's called commitment and consistency. So commitment and consistency means that if I'm committed to being a martial arts expert, I know that as a athlete, as a martial artist, I have to practice every day. If my self-identity is committed to that, I'm going to be consistent with that self-identity. I'm not going to go, not practice for 10 days. I'm not going to go not do my workout. I'm committed and I'm consistent. That's why when you have people that say, hey, I'm not a good public speaker, right? For example, well, they're committed to not being a good public speaker. Therefore, they're consistent with never practicing to be a good public speaker ever, right? So commitment and consistency is really powerful. And that's what cadence does. It's like you get their self-image and you tie it to their commitment. When you do that, they naturally will start becoming more and more consistent. And sometimes they may be consistent because of guilt, and that's okay. Sometimes they may be considered because of inspiration. That's okay. Sometimes they may be just consistent because of accountability. They just don't want to let you down. That's okay. We don't care. We only care about the result. We only care about them reaching their goal. So I always tell somebody, hey, just in case we miss our commitment, what would you like me to do? Oh, Sharran, you can just call me and tell me, hey, what the heck? I'd be like, are you sure I can do that? Okay, awesome. I'm happy to do that. And then I say, hey, Steve, you told me to call you and tell you, so I'm doing that. What the heck? Yeah. And then it becomes a joke, and then you feel bad, and then you get back on track. But we've got to do it in a kind, humane way. Otherwise, it's like, hey, you never came, and now it gets kind of rough, as opposed to staying kind and humane.
And I think it's super important, for everybody listening in, to have like a vision for your school, your company, whatever you're doing. Because if the people that show up in your life, they subscribe to your vision, not to you as a person, but what you guys are building together, then it makes sense to be in the same boat, because that person, okay, I might have a problem with, so they might have a problem with me personally, but they probably love the idea of helping people and improving their lives, and they're going to be on that way, guys. So definitely, I think you should select like the right people who believe in what you're doing first and foremost.
The other thing is also, right, I think it's a good idea for business owners who are in martial arts studios, etc., to also build a financial incentive to this process. And what I mean by that, for example, you may say, hey, Sharran, you're going to sign up for this. It's 2 times a week, and go with simple number, and it's $500 a month. Great. Awesome, right? Say I miss a session, and you can say, Sharran, sometimes you may miss a session. If you miss a session, you have 2 options, right? Option number 1 is, we don't do makeup. So option number 1 is you can call me 24 hours before and tell me what you're going to do. And if possible, I'll reschedule. Or option number 2, if you ever miss one, you're going to go online and you're going to buy my $25 a month package. That way you can at least watch the 5 videos that I've done. And essentially all you do is Friday of that week, you record 5 20-minute videos, upload it. And now that becomes a cash flow stream.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you can even tell people coming in saying, oh, I can't afford it anymore. You're like, okay, if you can't afford it, if you're traveling, if you're on vacation, no problem. You're already a member of our premium membership program. You should do these 5 videos and I will shoot them. If you have questions, just post them below or whatever, right?
That's
and
great,
maybe you email up. But now you have a membership stream of content that you can have, that maybe you take that and post it on YouTube. Maybe you can give that away. Maybe you can do other things with it. And you can do it in small chunks, because we know that no one's watching a 30-minute episode, but they'll watch, like I watched one of your videos. I'll watch an 8-minute video for sure when you pack in the content. That way they still stay connected to you even when they're not with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So for everybody listening in, guys, definitely have like some training materials that you can share with your students when they're not at your school and they're online. Or if you're not into that stuff, maybe have like a type of a swear jar for missing class, right? So whenever somebody misses class, just ask them to send some money and donate that to some cause, to some charity, and stuff like that. Awesome. Yeah. Sharran, something that I really want to dive into, and we kind of touched upon this idea. I know that you immigrated to the United States, right? You became a professional tennis player, and that plan worked a bit too well, right? Because the plan was a bit different, right? But when you came to the United States, did you ever picture yourself diving deep into business, into sales, into the person you are today? Or was it like, oh my God, I'm going to figure this out as I go?
Yeah, great question. I had if I would go back and talk to that 17-year-old kid, I had no idea. I was just very, where I grew up in India, it was not the right, I have nothing against the country. It was just not the right environment for me. My parents realized it was not the right environment for me.
How did they know? Because I heard you saying that in, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. How did your parents feel that?
Well,
how
I think
did they have that awareness?
Yeah, I think I was a pretty, as you can tell, I was a pretty passionate kid, but when things don't go my way, I I would show struggle. I would show frustration. So I was not, I was a decent student, but in India, you have to be top 1%, right? Like in anywhere else in the world, top 10% is pretty good. Like in India, if you're not top 1%, it just doesn't work. So I was a decent student, but not top 1%. I had decent athletic ability, but I was colorblind, so I could not do any art. I was not musically talented, so I could not do anything that way. I was okay, and I was a mediocre kid. And my parents realized, I think my dad saw this fire in me, and he's like, hey, I just need to put you in a place where this fire would get developed and you will be the person that you are. And he realized that the construct of the country that he had grown up in, he'd never been outside the country. My dad had never been outside the country. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, I've heard, here's not the place for you. And my parents sold everything that they had, everything, just to get me out. Yeah. And that is the biggest, kind of the greatest gift that I ever received from them. And till today, all that I do is a gratefulness for what they did, because they've planted the seed and they've seen all this happen. But I had no idea. To me, it was just about how fast can I get out of this country and where can I go where I'll be accepted, where I can learn and can grow into the person that I want to be. But man, I got lucky along the way. I got a bunch of new opportunities. My life kind of split apart. I took the opportunities that were given. I've spent more time in my life working for free than I have working to getting paid, which is, most people can't say that. Like if you took all my years of working, I've actually spent more time working for free than working to get paid. And
let me just say that I can relate to what you're saying so much, because it's like, I'm, and my girlfriend can confirm this 100%. I'm really, really passionate. Like I go all in crazy, but when things stop going my way, it's like, right. And that's something that I really definitely need to work on and definitely improve on. And also, my parents also, they did like humongous sacrifices for everything that I do today. So I'm super grateful for that. Tell us a bit more about that. How did you, like, you work more for free than you did for the money, right? Give us a bit more detail in that sense, please.
Yeah, totally. Right. So for let me give you an example. So, my first, whenever you're starting a business, like, no one's paying you, right? Let's just agree. Like I run a technology software company right now. We have employees around the world. I don't take any, like, I don't get paid. I pay for stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it's hard when I go home and my wife is like, hey, we just sent another wire out of our bank account. And I'm like, honey, it'll come back, right? I'm building a business. I'm building the growth. We're 18 months out. But for most people, not getting paid for 18 months involves two things. Number one is they go into their safety net. They're like, can I be okay? Like, what am I going to do? I'm used to a paycheck because my life revolves around a paycheck, right? So that's one thing. And I think that safety net in a lot of ways prevents people from tapping into their inner greatness. So if I told you for the next year, I will pay for your just living expenses. Like, you don't have to worry about you living. You don't have to go. I will pay for your general lifestyle, right? I will pay for it. But you're not getting the Porsche Carrera. You're not getting to fly on private jets. You're not getting to do all of that. But I'm going to give you your basic needs. But the rest of the time, what you have is you have to build a business. You have to do what you would be like. To me, that is the greatest gift someone can give.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you gave me a year where I don't have to worry about the safety net. And what I always coach, when I coach entrepreneurs, when I mentor entrepreneurs, I tell them, believe in this. Always, if you can have a year's worth of stuff, a year's worth of safety net built in, once that's done, go take as much risk as you want. Because I know you'll be able to completely transform your life. Yeah. If you worst case scenario, you have a year to get back on your feet. And if you can't get back on your feet in a year, like, there's something wrong with you. Like, I believe that. So the first thing is we get used to this paycheck, and it's okay. But I think if you break out of that cycle, you can think bigger, you can create more, you can live happier, you can do more. And it's not like imagine this, you wake up and you're like, the reason why most people don't follow their dreams is because they have to go to work. That's the number one reason, right? And it's okay, that's number one. So that's the mindset. The second thing is, we live way below our means, way below, because I have no idea. I mean, like people, this is my 4th company. I've sold 3. Like, I get it. I drive a Ford Fusion. Like I'm not, it's very simple, right? We live below our means. We don't have a fancy house. We live below our means because my family knows that I am the kind of guy that is going to keep reinvesting so that I can grow more, have a bigger company. But for more people, as soon as Christmas comes around and they get a bonus, they change their lifestyle. They increase their lifestyle. They get a new car payment. They want to get more space in their business. They want to. Yeah. It's very easy to increase your lifestyle. It's very hard to live within your means. But I'm telling you,
do you feel that it's very comfortable for you to think this way because you got this philosophy out of your internship at Goldman Sachs when you started out? I mean, I know that you started like 6 months. There were 6 months of training where you were not getting paid, right?
We were getting very, like, a small base to live.
Small base, right? Yeah. So do you feel that contributed to the way that you're thinking right now in terms of business?
So so what happened was my parents gave me when I left India, they gave me 1 year's worth of everything.
Right.
Room, board, tuition, everything. Like 1 year completely taken care of. They said, after that, if you want to study more, 3 more years, it's on you.
Yeah.
So I had to start to think about, hey, I got a 1 year head start. What do I do to keep myself in the game and continue? So I always thought about it as it's very easy to trade time for money. Yes, I clean toilets, I flip burgers, I worked in a pizza place. I did all of that. But then I realized there's got to be a better way for me to make chunks of money. So I'll give you a funny story. The first time when I was in my second year in college, this is that long ago, like 20 years ago, they were laying Ethernet cable for internet, giving in the dorm rooms. But they had this plug where you plug in the Ethernet by the door, but all the desks were by the window. So like 9, 10, 15 feet apart, right? So I was like, who did this? Because you can't plug them in.
Right.
So I said, the average plug size, if you go to like a Walmart, is 3 feet. So I went to a electronics store in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I bought 3,000 feet of cable on a credit card. Yeah. And all I did was sell that for 10 times more of the price. I sold so much cable that I paid for the full second year of tuition. I sold so much cable, right? But I sold all the cable in 3 days because everybody needed internet their first 3 days. And my credit card bill didn't even come until 31 days later. So I basically bought it on my credit card, got it all paid back. I mean, it was amazing. And that's when I realized that I can live below my means. I can create opportunities. There's opportunity everywhere. And it's okay to hustle, but it's the more we live below our means, the more we can do with our lives.
I love that. Yeah. Before we move on to my next question, let me just call you out on the fact that you're not wearing your headset and you're super articulate and you're super confident and you're super on point, right? For everybody asking themselves, like, what are we talking about? You guys need to check out Sharran's interview with Bedros and with Jason Capital. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll tell that story really quickly. I think people will appreciate it, right? So first 6 months of Goldman Sachs training, 39 interviews to get the job on Wall Street, 39 one-on-one individual interviews to get the job on Wall Street. Show up on Wall Street. Yeah. They hand me a BlackBerry at that time, a corporate American Express card, and a headset. And I was no training in sales. I've never spoken on the phone before. Hate speaking on the phone. Hate talking to people. And I realized all of that was because no one had told me what to say, how to think, how to speak, language patterns, none of that. And so I asked the managing partner, hey, I understand the BlackBerry. It's for me to get email. I get that. I understand this corporate card. I'm not stupid. But what is this headset? He says to me, put it on.
Yes.
Make it a part of your body and don't plug it into anything. I was like, you've got to be kidding me, right? So all the kids put it on, and I will tell you that has become that, like, it became a really structured part of my upbringing. It just so happens that I don't have it today, but every day I put my headset on every day. I feel the most comfortable and confident wearing the headset on every day. When I click it in, it's almost a trigger for me.
Yep.
And somehow my brain snaps into the training. It's the training, right? When you wear your, I don't even know what you call it, uniform or when you wear that, you're in training mode, right?
Yeah. You step into that identity.
Right, exactly. And that's why even when I am taking a call, for example, I'll jump in my car, I'll sit down, I'll put my headset on. Like, I need something to just snap me back in to the symbolism of that seriousness, right? And then when I get out and I'm better. But there's small things that we can do to just snap us in. And and people are like, why do you need to get snapped in? I think why I need to get snapped in is I start to channel my training. And channeling the training, because like I can remember my scripts, I can remember to de-escalate and reframe, I can remember to not take things personally, I can remember my body language, I can remember energy, I remember everything that was taught to me. But that's why I need that, no other reason.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like a doctor wearing a uniform or a SEAL, wearing the hat and the jacket. Definitely. Just to make a quick parallel with martial arts, there are some martial arts school, some kendo schools. This is the art of the sword, where 1 year all you do is take out your sword and put it back in. Take out your sword, put it back in. Right? That's all you do, and it's the same idea. You need to make it part of your body, an extension of who you are. Yeah, definitely. That's 100% true.
Hey, sorry to interrupt the interview. I'll let you get back to it in a moment. Let me just ask you, do you want more financial freedom in your business so that you have time for the important things in your life? Would you like to level up your business and become a black belt in business success? Let me help you. I will personally take a look at your business and show you exactly how you can make it more profitable so that you enjoy more financial freedom and more time with your loved ones. Get in touch with me over social media. Links are in the description. Send me a message with the text Business Breakthrough, and we will schedule an appointment, and you will get a free coaching session where I teach you exactly how to make your business more profitable without putting in more hours. And this is going to be only for the first 5 people who get in touch with me this week. So check the description, get in touch with me on social media, send me a message with the text Business Breakthrough, and let me help you take your business to the next level.
What's the vision for your current tech company?
So thank you for asking. Over the years, what I realized that there's 3 things that generally make any high performer successful. The first is you have to have some kind of goal. Otherwise you're rudderless ship, right? So some kind of goal. And based on the goal, it would be nice if you have some kind of plan.
Okay.
Some kind of plan. And it would be amazing if you have a really good goal and a really good plan, but some kind of goal is still pretty good. Some kind of plan is still pretty good. And then what stops people right at that point is when you have a goal and a plan, there's some form of execution action that you need to take to deliver that goal. What I realized that in the real estate business, we had people that were very talented, that had the goals and had the plans, but they had a lot of friction in execution. So my thought was, wouldn't it be amazing if I could create a platform that just was execution. So they had a goal, they had a plan, and they're like, hey, I have a plan to do this kind of marketing. Great. I push 3 buttons and it gets done for me.
Okay.
So so we call it push button execution. It is the idea where we can take, right now we're starting the real estate vertical. We're going to expand into others, but where we can help salespeople push a few buttons and get execution so that they can go do what they do best, which is selling and being with clients. And they come back, they want to do something, they push a bunch of buttons, and marketing happens, technology, sales happens, lead generation happens, etc. So we figured out where if we can figure simple systems where I'm like, hey, I want to spend $100. I want to get this kind of leads, go. That's it. And then we do it all. And then we just hand them the result. So I call it, can we help people buy a result? They're just buying a result.
It's interesting.
And so everything to me, everything to me is, I come to you to train with you, but at the end of I have to do the work and then I get a result.
Yeah.
Instead, what I'm suggesting is I'm going to give you $10,000. Can you just install the skills into me like the Matrix? Like I'm asking for that. That's the result we're doing where, hey, write us a check for $100. We'll do all the work and you get the result. And so we're like in the concept of buying a result. And I realized that the high performance real estate sales profession that we're tackling right now is the same worldwide. So instead of building a US centric platform right from the start, we built a global platform. Okay. So we've been live only just over 100 days. We have thousands of users. We just launched in Australia, New Zealand. We're launching in Canada and in the UK. But no firm our size has launched, and within the first 90 to 100 days has launched multiple markets. But the best part is we built it and designed it that way first. So my vision, as you asked for it, is to be the execution platform for all real estate agents around the world.
Awesome, right? So for example, like I'm a real estate agent and I find out about your company. I find out that I can just focus on getting in touch with amazing clients, giving them amazing experiences, helping them solve their solutions with their houses. But my challenge is finding the right leads, finding the right people to talk with, right? So I know specifically who I want to talk to, and I come to your company, I say, look, this is basically who I'd like to in this area. Please give me 10 leads, or I have a budget of $100 or $1,000. Let's make it happen, right? So you basically deliver the details of the client. Does the client know that they're going to be getting a call from an agent? How does that basically work?
Yeah, totally correct. So essentially, this is how the process works. The agent says, exactly like what you said. Hey, I sell real estate in Newport Beach, California. Code is 92660. This is my local market that I want to focus in. Hey, I want to generate leads for a budget of $250 in 92660 for homeowners that are thinking about selling their home. So we call home seller leads. So they would say, in our system, it's 3 clicks. They would click a button that says $250. They would click a button, type in 92660. They would click a button and say, generate seller leads, and they would say, go. Done. That's all they would do. What we do is we build, we can do it multiple ways. And one way that we do it is we run targeted Facebook ads, of course, to a very specific set of landing pages that are branded the agent. So the client actually knows what they're clicking on. The client actually knows where they're submitting their information on that agent's page. And then the agent gets the lead. And we also even give the agents the scripting and the tools on how to respond to the client because we know how they came from. So the agent just says $250, 92660, generate seller leads, go. And then we run the ads, we build the landing pages, we do the lead capture, and we give them the scripts, and we just do the whole process. And at the end of the process, we just give them a report saying, this is what happened. Would you like to do it again?
I'm jealous. I want this for coaching and for martial arts.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? Yeah. Maybe you can help us pilot it.
That would be freaking awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And test it out. Yeah. Especially for coaches, it's getting more challenging for like coaches, from my experiences, who are really, really good at what they do are generally not really good at marketing. It's the same with martial arts, right? You can be a really stellar martial arts teacher, yet really have terrible marketing. And that's a huge shame, right? And
your hypothesis is 100% right. And it's not just in martial arts. It is across industries. It is across verticals because they just have overdeveloped capabilities in one area, right? For a CPA who's really good, or accountant who's really good at accounting, like their brains are not wired to be good marketers. It just doesn't work that way.
Yes.
And very rarely do you find that combination exist. And for people that are really good at marketing, like they're not good lawyers, they're not good accountants, they're not good doctors. And so, but they also don't want to learn everything. That is why I think, an agent saying, I know it's 3 to 5 buttons, that's all they can push. Otherwise they start over stressing out about the process. So our goal is to keep it really simple, get them exactly what they want, and keep it in bite-sized chunks so they can see results.
Is this the same philosophy that you used to scale TELUS when you were working there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly the same philosophy, right? So our idea was, hey, what's the singularity of focus? Awesome. We're going to grow with a certain number of people. What's the cadence of accountability? We're going to get all our salespeople together every morning at 9:30. We're going to have the same thought process. And then good process drives good results. Hey, can I make it so easy that you do only what you do well, I do only what I do well, and that's it. So we call it staying in our lanes. And it gets a little expensive up front because you need 3 or 4 people to run it. Yeah. And so you have to live a little below your means. But once it starts to work, it gets very exciting because I'm only doing what I'm good at. So in my company today, I don't do anything that I'm not good at. Because there's a great quote, and I don't know what you think about this. It's one of my favorite quotes. When you spend time working on your weaknesses, you end up with a bunch of really strong weaknesses.
Definitely.
Right? And it's amazing because everyone's like, oh, I need to improve on this. And I'm like, you don't need to improve on anything. What do you do really well? Learn that, do that better. And it may only be 3 things, but when you show up, you're the king of those 3 things. No one can touch you. Definitely. So my team tells me now, hey, if Sharran's not growing, if Sharran's not building culture, if Sharran's not innovating, like don't send him anything else because he's going to break it. He's going to break it. So we call it nose in, hands off. And it's NIHO, nose in, hands off, which means I can smell everybody's else's lane, but I have to be hands off. I can't do anything.
It's just like organizing a football team, right? Everybody has his own specialty. Right? And you don't step into somebody else's lane because you have your own role. Awesome. So let me ask you, and guys, if you're listening to this, and if you haven't written down good processes drive good results, this is your opportunity. Do it right now and stick it somewhere where you can see it every single day. Let me ask you, how do you find each and every member of your company, of your team, how do you find their superpower? Their one gift?
So great, amazing question. It's very hard. It's very hard. So there is a technical way and a human way, right? So here's the technical way. The technical way is like we do a lot of personality type indicators. So we use what we call the DISC profile. You may or may not have heard of it. So for example, like you cannot have a company without what we call a high D. D for driver. You can't have, like, I'm a 99 D. If you don't have a D, like the company will fall apart because no one will do any work, right? No one wants to push their agenda forward. But then the I and the S and the C, what we call, so like your COO or your operator shouldn't be a high D. That like their personality doesn't work that way. So the first thing we do in all our interview processes is we say, okay, we're hiring a marketing person's role. What do we think, generally speaking, this person's disc should look like? Oh, we think this should be a low D, high I, low D, low S, high C. Okay, great. So in our interview requirements, we say, hey, we're interviewing for this position. Here's what it is. Number 1, please submit your disc profile. Please submit 3 bullet points on why you want it, whatever it may be, right? So we look at the disc and be like, very interesting. Like, this is, I'm not judging, but everything looks great, but this person, very interesting, doesn't fit at all. Or this person's right there. So when you build a team around that, you can also see how people get stressed out. Yeah. If you put a high D in a high I situation, they're going to get stressed out. And you don't want that. So we are very true to what is the role that the dominant skill trait that requires and find the person for it. I will tell you like straight up, right? If you find a admin, so like I was interviewing for an assistant operations person for me, right? To help me. There's no way that person has a high D because it will break. Because that person is going to want to do everything. So I know right away, like you can't have a high D and a high D and that will break.
Yeah,
right? And so when I got that person, she was like the exact opposite of me. And it was amazing because the first time I met her, like I just wanted to hug her because everything she said was like she was finishing my sentences. She didn't want to be me. I didn't want to be her. I respected her. So that's number one. Number two is so every Wednesday, so today we're recording this on a Wednesday, but every Wednesday we do an all hands meeting. Agent of all our team from around the world, we jump on a Zoom call and one person from the team leads that call. It's only for 15 to 20 minutes, but it's their job to come up with either something, a book that they've read, a piece of literature, a song, a quote, a topic, a theme. They present it to the team to read beforehand, like on a Monday, and they lead the discussion around that topic. And sometimes it's about, like last week we talked about peace and Buddhism. The week before we talked about having tough, crucial conversations. Whatever people bring to the table, we do. But what we realize from that, it brings out their true colors. You realize what's important to them. Right? And we've given them no judgment. Whatever's important to them, they can talk about, and it's totally cool. They engage, they teach, they do whatever, and we see them in their true spirit, right? We see them in their true spirit.
Yes.
That's when you start to see their joy. And now you're like, whoa, that's amazing. Why didn't we do that more often? Just those two, you'll start to figure it out pretty quickly. And you want to have a culture of looking for that superpower and allowing people to talk about their superpower, allowing people to use the language such as, hey, I am really good at this. I am not great at this. That is very fair to say. But most organizations, you don't want to say that because you feel like you don't want to show weakness. So if we can encourage team members to say, I'm really good at this, or hey, my superpower is this, just like Sharran's superpower is that, then you feel like, hey, we're in this together. The best organization is when you take the CEO or the leader, take their superpower, let them only do what they do.
Yes.
And then every other task, give it to somebody else. What is their superpower? Give it any other task, give it to what is the, like you want a daisy chain of superpowers, and oh my gosh, it gets very exciting.
I love that. And I was asking myself, this is super awesome, having the meeting and having people lead the meeting with what's important to them. And I was thinking, most business owners will not really do that because they don't see the purpose of spending this time with having everybody rally up and spend this time on this type of meeting. But you connected that with, look, you're going to see that person for who they truly are, and that will enable you to see where they really, really fit inside your organization. So that's super, super powerful. Guys, I hope you're taking lots of notes. Awesome. And you also, something that I wanted to ask you as well is something that you mentioned in the previous interview, like leaving a carrot trail for your employees, right? Is it a bit like gamification, like playing a video game where they do this and you unlock another option? How did you come up with that? Or
so I'll tell you this, right? Anytime we're all kidding ourselves if we say that gamification doesn't work. Like we all want to win. Like we all want to win in some way. The deepest quest for a human being is to do better and have personal growth. And that personal growth for some people comes in the form of a video game. Some people come in the form of a star. Some people come in the form of a recognition. Our job is to figure out whatever we can do in an organization. People think it's like, oh, I don't do awards, I don't do this. That's fine, but let me give you an example. So my son is 7 years old. He's in first grade. He's 7 years old. And the award system, the gamification system in his classroom is so complex that I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It is that complex. So he has one thing which he calls a clip up. Clip up means there's a chart and it has 8 levels, and the last level is a little basketball hoop. Everybody, every single day, start in the middle of that chart. They start at number 4, right? For example. And so if my son Neil does well and answers a question, takes care of a child, does something the teacher recognizes it and says, Neil, go clip up. So Neil runs over to the chart, goes from 4 to 5, goes from 5 to 6. And if something negative happens, they say, hey, Neil, clip down. Neil runs over and he's sad and he clips down, but he gets instant validation, instant feedback for what he did. It's a really powerful thing, right? So now everybody wants to clip up, so everyone naturally starts doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But the end part is like when even one person gets up to the final best goal, the entire class gets to shoot basketball. Entire class. So now no one is mad that my son got 3 clip-ups. They want him to do better because that's a chance for everybody to do better. So I'm thinking, why does a first grader, right?
I get it. That's crazy. I'm getting it's stupid, but I'm getting goosebumps. Like, this is so cool. Like, can you imagine like everybody wanting you to win?
Yeah.
Everybody around you is like, oh my God, win, because we're all gonna have so much fun.
Totally.
Super powerful. Yeah.
But imagine this, right? So what happens is, first grade, you do these games, and then when he gets there, like he's explaining this to me, and I can't even. I have decent intelligence. He's like, oh, when we do this, then we get a star. I put the star on my T-shirt. I put the star in my backpack. And I'm like, there's so much going on, but he understands it completely, just like everybody else. But then we go from first grade to second to third to fourth to fifth to high school to college, and all our incentives are taken away, right? Like people leave jobs because their boss doesn't come in or their partner doesn't come in and say, hey, good job. We think that is a great thing. Good job? Like, are you kidding? Right? It's the cadence of the recognition. It's not about me once a quarter saying, Sifu, great job. Thank you for, what you're teaching. No, like if I'm not doing it daily, if I'm not doing it regularly, if I'm not building it as a part of our culture, it's just going to break, right? It's going to completely break. And what I learned from my son's first grade class is that we have trained our children early on in the formative years to respond so well to the recognition and the gamification. And then as they grow older, we take it away. Like, that's insane. I don't know why we do that, right?
Yeah.
We should bring back the small rewards. We should bring back I'm a part of a mastermind group, and my mastermind, very, very powerful CEOs of big companies. And even us, we have a little, it's like a little trophy, right? It's a trophy, and whoever has the trophy last hands that trophy to another person for that day's meeting, for how much they contributed, they shared, etc. This is happening with CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies. And so so let's say I got that. I take that home. I put that on my desk, and for a month I look at it until I go to my next mastermind group meeting, because that's my win. And then I get to give that to somebody else, right? Gamification is super important. Like, we call it gamification. I'm just saying, hey, we have been trained as children to want this, to appreciate this, to learn this, and then someone just ripped it away. Like, we need to bring it back, and we need to care for it, and we need to, I think just small things like that will help culture, employee retention, engagement, and so many other powerful things. Especially in today's world, like, we run a remote company by design. Like, we want to grow and have the right people around the world. I don't see people. So like, when I see them on video, every day, I need to have more than just, like, I don't get to hug people. I don't get to shake hands. I don't get to see them by their offices. I need so much more. And so my biggest, guidance and suggestion would be, even if you have a small team, build a culture of just, like, working towards something, getting the goals, getting the wins, getting the stars, getting the coupons, getting the raffles, getting the, winning a prize. It's a really, really good thing. It keeps it going.
I'm already, I'm already thinking of how I can apply this system from your son's kindergarten to my own school. That's genius. That's super, super awesome. And the main reason, like, the differentiator is that they're all rooting for somebody to win. Because if my teammate wins, everybody wins, and that's gonna be awesome. Yeah. Excellent. I'm so grateful that you shared this this concept with everyone, and especially with me. And yeah, and guys, if you've ever played a video game, you definitely see the value and the importance of gamification and getting rewards. Awesome. Sharran, when is your book coming out?
So I'm still working on it. I've changed course multiple times because I wanted it to be excited about it, but it's sometime early 2019 is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
But all the focus has gone into, my publisher is not happy with me right now because I'm changing the dates on her, but all the focus right now is launching our company, which is Kingston Lane, and really growing it. And we have a lot of momentum. And so the commitment is to the team on me building and growing the business. And I've been waking up earlier every morning. I generally wake up at 4:45. I've been waking up a little earlier to write a little bit every day, to design a little bit every day, to think through the process. Because you string together cadence, right? You string together 20, 15 minutes, 30, 15 minutes. You suddenly have an outline. You suddenly have a couple of chapters written. When you have 3 chapters written, it gets very exciting. But I want it to be a different book. It's going to be around the concept of cadence. It's going to be around very tactical stuff. Hey, I'm going to take this. Here's an idea that I can go install in my business right now. So it's going to be more, here's a strategy, here's a story that I learned. So I call it the strategy, story, tactic idea. So, hey, here's a strategy on how you do cadence in a business. Here's a story on how we actually did it in ours. And here's a form, here's an idea, here's a game that you can take and install in your business or in your life right now. And if I can do 10 chapters of that, anybody can flip to chapter number 3, read a strategy, read a story, and read a tactic.
Use it immediately.
Get a result, which is what I really want to do.
I love that. And if somebody is a realtor right now and wants to get in touch with you guys, what is the website that they would go to?
So thank you. Great question. The best part is it's the greatest offer in town because it's free. So they should get a free account. It's actually free for life on most of our features. And then for a small fee of $99 for the year, you get to upgrade the entire platform. So it's a no-brainer.
That's nothing.
So you should get a free account and take it for a spin. It's kingstonlane.com. So Kingston as just how it's spelled, kingstonlane.com. And just grab a free account and take it for a spin.
And guys, if you have a friend who is a realtor, absolutely send them this interview, or just maybe send them the website with a bit of a background, right? Because you've been cool and you've listened to this awesome interview until the end. Definitely give them a hand and send them the links. Before we wrap up, let me just ask you, how did you decide on the name for Kingston Lane?
Oh my gosh, great question. I'll tell you the story. So this was not even, we didn't even think about this name for the company. A few years ago, I've always wanted to have my next big birthday. I have this dream, and this dream is I want to have it in a castle in Europe where I invite my family from around the world, because they all live from Australia to California, in Asia, etc. And I want to have this castle where I can bring people to, and they can have a great time. I provide everything, and it's like my gratitude birthday party. So I've been looking for castles, and I was looking at a castle in Scotland about 3 years ago, and it was on this street called Kingston Place. And I was like, oh, what a cool name. And I was like, Kingston Place, Kingston Road, Kingston Lane. KingstonLane.com was available. I thought it sounded good. I told a couple of my friends about it, and they're like, oh, that's cool. So I saved the name, bought the URL. And then when we were launching the business, I went through all the URLs I already had first, and then I handed it to my team, and my team built a brand around it and things like that. So the new hot thing is ready. The 2-word brand is pretty cool. It needs to be easy to say and easy to hear. And having a .com was cool as well. So I love it. And we've actually gotten phenomenal feedback for the name because it's not like a Agent Wizard or Realtor Geeks or whatever. It's like a cool, majestic name, and it's probably the best I've ever named any company in all my companies. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Plus, it's got the word king in it. That's always exciting.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Awesome. Great. Sharran, thank you so much for your time. It's been a really, really fun interview. And let me just say once again, I'm very, very impressed with your positive vibes and your enthusiasm. I'd love it. I'm very much looking forward to my version of that, of more kindness and even more enthusiasm and even more passion. So I'm definitely inspired in that sense. And guys, for everybody tuning in, thank you so much for listening until the end. Go ahead and get in touch with Sharran on Instagram. What's the best place that?
Instagram is my favorite platform. So it's Sharran Srivatsaa on Instagram. So just follow me. I manage it. I respond to all my stuff. It's the early days of the platform. You and I connected on Instagram, so I'm excited about that. So whatever I can do to be helpful, I'm here to do.
Yeah. Plus, you were super cool about the interview. Like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And then you went on YouTube and watched the Wing Chun videos. Pom pom.
Awesome. That's right, man.
Awesome, man. Definitely. I'll probably see you in January over at Jason's event.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, he's a good guy and I'm going to be speaking at it. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, go ahead and get in touch with Sharran. You have links in the description for everything that you will need. Send this interview to your realtor friends, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the version of Kingston Lane for coaches, consultants, experts, and martial arts maniacs like myself. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And if you're ready for more financial freedom, for more time to spend with your loved ones or doing what you're really, really, really passionate about, send me a message over social media, connect with me, links are in the description, and I will give you a free business breakthrough session where I will show you exactly how you can make your business more profitable so that you live a happy and fulfilled life with your loved ones. I'll see you soon.